Yeah, for Toad access, what you do is first you install this Oracle client. So
Okay.
this, yeah, this Oracle client, you install it. When you're installing, just one precaution, you use the administrator edition. So there will be 4 editions. It'll ask you choose the second one, administrator edition. That's it. Just
Okay.
next. Once you do that, you place the tnsnames.ora file. So tnsnames.ora file, where you need to place it, you typically, let's say if it is installed here, normally it will be installed in app. Okay, in app here, then it will be product. Okay, then this, then db home, then network, then admin. Okay, or if you are not sure, then what you can do is cmd. Okay, go here, tns ping. Okay, tns ping, let's say orcl. Okay, then this tells me the name of the location. This is another way of finding out. Copy that, and that's the same location here. You need to paste your tnsnames.ora file here, and if you're already using something, like you're already connecting to a office database or something, then just append that entry. No need to overwrite. Okay, once you do that, then there's nothing much. Just go to Toad and connect. The name of the, let's say in Toad side, see here, the username is the ORS name, password is always tiger, and this is the service name. You can always change it. Okay, or see, you can also go and edit it here as well. So see, this is one way. Second way is you can go here, okay, and double click this TNS files. You can also give the entry here. That also you can do, and then just connect. Simple. Okay, that's how you do it. Now let's see the things.
Sure.
Okay. So cleanse functions. Let me open. So yesterday we've completed the mapping logic for the party table. Now let's see the logic for the address table. For the, but let me go back here. Okay, the party is done with this condition. Condition is missed. Let me write it. Is equal to CKR. All right. Make sure that you always validate it here. So sometimes I've seen people, what they do is like give something like this. They don't validate it. If you validate it, throws the error. If I don't validate, it does not throw me any error. Okay, then when I run it, it will cause issues. So always validate, save it. Okay, then let's say if I want to replicate this mapping, copy paste, replicate. Okay, if I want to copy paste, then right click, copy mapping. So you can see that my landing table remains the same, no change in that landing table, but my staging table will be different. Now I need to specify a different staging table, and the name m party mlo, say okay. So you will see that it's just a copy paste of this mapping. The only thing is that the target table here, it is party mlo, here it is uh, party CKR. That's the only difference. Otherwise they are all the same. Okay, and of course you need to change the condition. The condition is CKR, you change that to mlo and save it. Simple logic, right? And okay, now that's done. So just 1 minute. Okay, fine. Now let's check this document and create this. Again, I'm telling you, if you want to find out the location of the TNS files, go to CMD, type TNS ping, ORCL or anything, then this tells you the location. Okay, this is the location. Right. For me, ORCL it's showing error, but for you it will be fine because I don't have anything called as ORCL. STG address. Okay, let's create the mapping for address now. So add mapping MEDDR CKR landing address, then the staging CKR. Okay, and then let's check this. The party ID, the PKSRC object and party ID both have same logic. So that is nothing but trimming the party ID and connecting that. So that is nothing but add a function trim. Okay, so connect this, then connect that to the PKSRC object and that to the party ID and save it. Okay, this was simple. Then talking about the address, these three type of cleansing. Okay, so this is very much similar to what we have done earlier, but slightly different. Different in the sense, this is similar to, very much similar to the organization name, because in addresses, how the addresses will be. So addresses will be HNO 101, then comma, let's say A, then comma, sometimes it will be like 101 slash or this one also. So some characters are permitted, numericals are of course permitted. So this is pretty much similar as the earlier one, and the expression I've already written here, A to Z, A to Z, 0 to 9, then some characters. So that characters, these characters are permitted. Okay, so for address name and for address line 1, line 2, for all of this you can use this expression, and whatever we have done here you can use the same cleansing. Okay, so I'm skipping that. Now state city, for state city you don't need to do any cleansing. No, normally you don't need to do any cleansing, but if you want, you can have a, you can validate it against a cleanse list. So you understand what I'm saying. Validate against a cleanse list means you create a cleanse list. Let's say if your business is in US, then whatever, let's say you have 30 states in US, so you create a cleanse list with 30 entries and then you validate against that. So that is something that you can, if you have time, you can try at least this or this, any of this one is okay, right? And then I have country. Now country, the logic is validate against the cleanse list plus standardize the data. First let's check the validation. Validation logic is, if it's not in valid list, that is, what is valid list? India, US, UK, Germany, Netherlands. That's the valid list. So if it is, if a country is India, US, UK, Germany or Netherlands, then that is valid. Otherwise it's invalid. Okay, so if it's valid, then accept. If it's not valid, then you reject it. Simple logic, right? So this is exactly same as this logic. So here also, if it's person organization, accept, otherwise reject. So here I had only 2 entries, here I have 5 entries. Pretty much same as this one. So I'm skipping this because you can easily do that. Okay, the only thing here is, here also we were doing standardization, here also it is their standardization. So here standardization will be, you know, this IND or India, like Republic of India or Bharat or Hindustan, all these names you can convert to India. That's the standardization. Okay, then finally we have this postal code, which is the difficult, not difficult, slightly different logic. Let's see this postal code implementation. Okay, postal code logic is different because it will use a new concept, and that's something that we have not seen yet. Okay, that's called as the lookup concept. So the logic is like this, that in your address you will have a postcode, and will be something like this. Let's say in India example, if I give, let's say high tech city and 50081. So this is actually the correct code. Okay, so this is correct code. If you check high tech cities pin code, it is 50081. So for example, if I go here and check it, then you will get this area, high tech city. So this is correct, right? So first, how am I validating that? How I validated it? You just saw. I copied this in Google, pasted it, validated it. But in companies we can't use Google, because anyway Google is not a privileged provider of information. It's just a company, right? Then how will I validate in a company? In a company, to validate that, you would need a um, you will need the address database, or you can say postal code database from the government. Why government? Because government is the authorized provider of this information. They will charge something extra, the postal code department. They will charge you for that, and you need to justify why you need the file. And once you pay, they will give you a file. That file contains list of like in India, list of all the valid addresses, all the um, like pin code. Normally it will be around, it will contain around 12 columns. 10 to 12 columns will be there. House number, street line, and then your area, locality, country, city, state, district. All the information will be there. So all the addresses will be there. You just need to validate your data against that list. If you, that is, you need to check if this number is there or not, and if it is there, this city, is it the same city or is it a different city? I mean this location, locality, right? That's what you need to check. So we are talking about an external table now. Okay, and first let's create the table. Let's say go and create the table. So create table postal, let's say postcode. I'll just name it postcode and I will just make it simple, area, or I'll just say, let's say just area varchar 20, and pin code varchar 220. See, normally there will be around 12 columns in this table, but I just try to make it simple, so I'm just making only 2 columns. Okay, and normally the process is, you will get a file from the government. You need to request, you need to pay, and you will get a file every month. You will get the file, and you need to update this postcode table accordingly, according to the file, right? But here I will manually insert. Okay, this is one. Then the second one, this is, let's say, some other address. second one. So I have two entries in my postcode table now. Okay, these are the two entries. I think I've committed, right? Okay. Now I would like to refer to an external table, that is this postcode table in my MDM. So I have to use something called as read database. Now read database is exactly same as ETL lookup. So in ETL you have a concept of lookup or referential check. Now this is exactly same as that, just the copy paste feature. So if I go here, mention the table name, that is the post code, this is the table name, and look up column name. I would like to look on the pin code, and the data is 50081, just one column, let's say, and the return column is, let's say, area. Test it. Here I go. Can you see this, that I'm sending my input as pin code, that's my input, and this is my input, and my output is high tech city. It means it is hitting the database, it is hitting this table in the database. Okay, that's the feature of lookup. You can provide up to 3 input columns, you can fetch up to 5 output or return columns, and this is how you use it. See, this will be a constant, this will be a constant, this will be a constant. This will only come from the source. 50081, that will come from the source, remaining all will be constant. Okay, let's try to design this thing. To design that, go here and say add a graph function, say validate, or just say gr validate postcode. Okay, I'm just going to call that read database function here. So add function read database. Okay, just see how, what will be passing here. Table name is a constant, that is postcode. All right, now the column name that I want to send to the table, and that column name is the pin code. So constant pin code, and data, this, let's say I'll create two entries here. One is pin code, another one is area. Pin code, second one is area. Here also pin code and area. Okay, pin code I'll pass that to here, and area I'll not be using initially, I'll use that later. And the return column, add a constant, and my return column is area, so area, and then the output column is this. Save that. It got disconnected, so connect again, sometimes happens. Right, and if I go and test it, if I say 50081 test, I'm getting high tech city. So I am able to use this read database function, right? If I give something else, null. Okay, now remember, if you do any mistake in the names or something, it will throw a strange error. See that, you'll get an error like this. So don't do any mistake on the table name, column name. Okay, so check it, save it. Right, now the logic is, if the record found flag is true, accept, If the record found flag is false, then reject. Simple logic. So record found flag is true, reject. I think we have created one graph function, right? Let's create a graph function just to reject it. So I'll create one thing, gr reject uh, false. So if it is false, it will reject. That's what it does. So input, and what we'll do is we'll just say input and flag. Okay, sorry, this flag must be boolean, right? Boolean flag, and add the function that is convert boolean, format boolean, and this is false, then reject, right? Add a constant accept, then another one as reject. So false, then reject. So false, then reject. True, then accept. Okay, and then uh, add a condition, of course. So what do you say? Accept, reject. Remove that, and reject, accept. First of all, just connect it like this. In case of reject, add a reject function, input to value to here, add a message, that is you can give a message. You can also parameterize this. Let's do that. So let me pass this message from the source. I'll show you how to do that. So let's say that I'll pass this message here. So I'll name this as message, or just say error message. Okay, so error message string, and you can also create one entry here. So this is the error message. Okay, and accept, reject. In case of reject, you can connect that text to here. Okay, so this one goes to here, this input goes to here, the error goes to here, and output goes to here. So logic is simple. If flag is false, it's going to reject it. It's not rejecting. True, then also not rejecting. Let's check what is the issue. Okay, it's not connected. That's the problem. Connected. So true, no issue. False, reject. So reject means what is the reason? Input is not in valid list. Let's say not in valid list. So not in valid list. All right. So I am getting it. So why I made it this error message, generalized it, so that I can use in multiple mappings. Okay. Just 1 minute. Okay, right. Now let's call this thing here. So call that add function then customer cleanse, then I have reject false. Okay, so false record found flag, reject. Then input I can take it from here. I can create actually two inputs also. So input and error message, I can give a custom message here. So what is the message? Invalid post code. And output connected to here. Save that. Alright, now if I give 500081, test it, working fine. If I give something else, invalid postcode value, this. So now it's just checking invalid postcode. So it means that if I give 500081, I'm getting this. Now if I give 500081, then high tech, or just say high hit, then also it's validating it. How to prevent that? To prevent that, what we can do is we can do two things here. So we can also do it on this plus area. Now this is a two-way check. Okay, so here high tech, if I give hit, I'm getting a message. Okay, high tech city, then it works. Okay, so that is two-way check. So you might want to check on 3-4 columns also. You can do that. That's how address is validated. This is slightly complex as compared to other things that we've seen, what to connect on what and all that. Clear cache, normally you don't need to use that, so you can just neglect it. Okay, but basically clear cache means like it will by default cache the thing here. So even if you delete data from the database, you will still see that it will be storing that here. Okay, so yeah, that's what is the valid postal code. Then I have the contact one. In contact one, this logic is same old. Yeah, this one, the logic for initials, that's slightly different. We'll see the logic for initials, how to derive it. So see, the logic is simple for initials. You can do that later. Name is, let's say, Sunil Kumar. This is the name. You want to derive SKM. That's the objective. Initials from the name. Okay, how to do that? See, first what you do is you title case this. So once you title case this, what will happen? Once you title case this will be SKM. That's what will happen, right? That will happen. Then third thing that you do is you once you title case that, then you use a cleanse list. In a cleanse list, you give an expression like anything apart from smalls. Okay, otherwise I'll just show you the cleanse list. CL, then extract initials. Okay, so I'm just going to copy that. See what is the expression that I can give. This must be regular expression, and anything apart from a anything apart from uppercase. Okay, you replace that. Anything apart from uppercase. replace that. So if I give the name here and this as anywhere, and test it, here I go, skm. That's what I'm expecting, skm, right? So that's how you derive the, then you can combine all these pieces in the graph function and do it. Simple logic. Then this three is same as what we have seen in the earlier thing, that is the in the graph function here that we've created, same logic. So it's the same thing here. Now the gender. So reject if gender is not in MFU. And this is exactly same as, this logic is exactly very much similar to what you have here. And then it's the this logic. Okay, so I'm skipping that because you can do this. And then I have the validation for phone number. The phone number validation. Phone number validation is depending upon which country, what country you want to validate, you have to write the expression. So you have to use this logic, that is add regular expression function. Okay, let's say add it, then rx validate phone number. You give an expression. What expression can I give? Let's say if I want to validate a Indian phone number, then in an Indian phone number, it's normally 10-digit phone number. So I can, the most simplest thing is 0 to 9, just checking 10 digits. Okay, so save it, let's say. So 10 digits, and that's digits, not alphabets. So let's say something like this. Okay, test it, match is true, it's a 10-digit number. If I give 11-digit number, test it, false, right? And if I give a 10-digit number, working, and if I give an alphabet also, not working. Let's say 10 digit with the alphabet, not working. And not working means that's correct. Okay, so this is working fine, but the problem is that in India, a number cannot start with 1. So basically this should be invalid. It can only start with 7 or 8 or 9, the first digit. So we can correct that. To fix it, what you do is 7 to 9, that's the first character, first thing, and remaining characters is can be 0 to 9. So that's my remaining character. Save that. So now this should be false, but if I change that to 8, working fine. That's how you can validate a phone number, fax number, or numerical fields. If you want to validate, you can use this method to do that. Or based on your data, like your pattern in data and all that, if you're getting let's say the STD code, the postal, the country code also, so that you have to consider accordingly. Accordingly you need to validate, okay, the position and all those things. And that's the logic for the phone number. And for email ID, you can see that I have written something in the brackets. So it looks like a complicated expression, but I have actually copied pasted this from internet only. Why? Because you don't need to rewrite it. The thing is, in internet, like that, you'll see millions of codes to validate email address, regular expressions. You can check it. But anyway, this is simple only, but you can, if needed, you might need to customize it. What it is checking is, it is checking something before
at the rate, that is, you can see underscore or A to Z 0 to 9 and minus plus all that, and then dot, it's taking a dot, so it's something like Sunil dot this at the rate of some something dot com or co.in or something. Okay, should be at least two characters. Okay, and A to Z 0 to 9 dot. Now that will depend from company to company, but you can still use this expression. And if you want to see how it is used, you can go and check in ORS sample. In ORS sample, the code is already there. So custom validate email address. So validate email address, CL validate email. Just check where is this CL validate email. CL validate email. See, this is the same expression that what I have given. Slightly different, I think, this one, but doesn't matter. The same thing. So you need to give this expression. You don't need to remember that, or you don't need to write it, because you don't need to waste time in something that is already there in internet. You can just copy paste, and yeah, that's how you validate a email address. You can also test it. And the fax number same as your phone number. Then the date of birth, validation. Now this is slightly different, so let's do that. Class 3. So validate okay, the logic here what is written is reject if it is null. So if it's null, then reject, that's okay. Or the format is wrong, or if it is after system date. See, in case of wrong format, I'm not doing that. You can do that later. That's an assignment. Now I'll just do this null and after system date check. Wrong format means you have to take the input as string, and then you have to use something called as this. You have to use this function, that is data conversion parse date. Get parse a string to get a date. If it's invalid, then reject. Okay. First logic, if it's null. So how do I know if it's null or not? Let me make this input as date and in, or just set date of birth. All right, date of birth, it's my input, right? And date of birth is of course my output. Date, right? Now check if this is null or not. How do I check it? You go here and add a function, and logic function is date null. This one, I want to use this one, is date null. Okay, so done. First part is done. Now the last part, how to compare if it's after the system date. So if it is after system date, that's invalid. Before, then that's valid. How can I find that out? To do that, you need to know the system date. How do I know? Using this now function, I can get the system date. So using now function will give you the system date. If you go here and check it, now test it, you get the system date. Okay, I'm going to use that. So add function now. Now is nothing but sysdate in database, whatever you have. Alright, so now we are going to compare these two. How to compare? You have a function for that. So compare dates. Here I go. Compare dates in the logic functions. Then I'm going to compare this with this. Alright. Now date of birth. Uh, date of birth should be less than the system date, right? So what we're looking for is less than. So if this is true, then my date is valid. If this is false, less than, then my date is invalid. And here, if it is true, it's this a reverse. You see here, if date is null, this is true. So it's invalid, right? So what I'll do is I will add one more function. That's the not function. Not function. Okay, not one. Now if this is true and this is true, then my date is valid, right? So combine these two results using an AND function, and so this is true and this is true. It means my output will be true. If output is true, it's valid, otherwise invalid. So I think we can use this function that we created, reject false, gr reject false. So add that, add function. That's the reason why I created it. So gr reject false. So connect this to here. Then the input, I have a problem with the input, can't connect it because it's the data type is different. That's okay, I'll just directly put it here because I just want to validate it. Otherwise you can go and change this and create one input for date and all that you can do it. And the error message, I'll give it as invalid date of birth, and output, yeah, actually I don't need to take the output. Why? Because I just want to validate it's working or not. Let's say that I give a valid date of birth 5th, test it, working fine, right? If I give a null, then here I go, reject message. And if I give a future date 31st December, then here I go, invalid date of birth. Okay, or what you can also do is you can make it even better. So you can, if this is there, then you can create a different message. Like if you're getting this, you can create a different message here, like invalid date of birth, date of birth is null, and for this you can create like date of birth is after system date. So how to do that? You can do it easily. I mean, not just check it as an assignment, but to do that you need to generate a message here, and here also a message, but anyway, that's, so you try it, otherwise we'll see. Okay, that's what this thing is there. So I will not do the mappings for this. I'll just, for these two things it's proper mapping. For these two things I'll just auto map it, but you do the complete mapping, okay? Because for first time it's important when you're learning, but I'll just create one-to-one mappings. Copy mapping, then add mapping m contact secure, and
Just make sure when you're doing one-to-one, the only precaution is that this party ID should be trimmed and used. Otherwise you will get issues. Remaining thing you can auto map, no problem. Then copy that and change the condition now. Okay, so I have equivalent mappings for all my source systems, right? So now the this mapping work is done. So once the mapping work is done, now we can move ahead to the execution of the mappings to load the data.
Sunil,
Yeah,
yeah, I have a question on that phone number thing.
right.
So can you please go back on that phone number validation, please, just for a minute?
Yeah, phone number. Yeah, phone number.
Now here we said that for India it starts with 79, right? And for US it starts with something else.
Right.
So can we do this dynamically? I mean, for example, if it is if my address is coming from India, then validate like this. If it is US, then validate other. Or do I have to create another RX for it?
That will depend. If there is not much variation, then you can use a regular expression to do that. Otherwise, you can use a graph function and two regular expressions.
Okay, so we have to create one more regular expression if for India and one for US, something like that, is it?
Yeah, yeah, you have to create separate regular expression.
Okay, okay, sure. Yeah,
Okay.
that's it. Thank you.
Okay. You use a condition. If it is India, then you
Mm-hmm.
redirect it to that. Otherwise, to that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now let's see how to run that. Okay, if you want more cleansing, but whatever cleansing we have considered, it's more than enough. Still, if you want more, then you can go and check the some of the functions here, how it is used and all that, but not necessary. Okay, now let's concentrate on the more important thing, running the job. So now we have landing. We created a mapping to move data from landing to staging, then from staging to the base object, right? So let's try to understand this. Landing to staging, staging to base object. First, let's try to understand how we can do this. And even before that, let's try to understand how this works. How to populate the landing table. Normally, how landing tables will be populated. Landing tables will be populated using your ETL jobs or ETL mappings, whatever you call it, ETL workflows. So using ETL job, the ETL team will populate the landing table. That's the job of the ETL guys, right? Now once you have the data, then these two things will be done using MDM jobs, not ETL anymore. Okay, first let's try to stimulate this thing. So what I will do is, instead of doing that in ETL, I'll just insert records into this landing table, and once the landing table is full, then we can concentrate on this one. So for that, I have the DML statements. I can just go and do the DML. I'll tell you what I'm doing. First, let me insert. 1 minute. This is done. Okay, let's check what I have inserted in my party table. F4 data. Okay, so I do see something. So I have
two records from MLO and I have two records from CKR. Two from MLO, two from CKR. Right? How do I know? Using this SRC column. And in MLO, actually I have two unique customers. One is Amit, another one is Vinay. Okay, I have Amit and I have Vinay. Now Amit is coming from MLO, Vinay is coming from MLO. Same Amit, Vinay is coming from MLO. So if you see the variations, you see this, that you have Amit Mishra here from CKR. This guy is Amit Mishra in CKR and this guy is Mishra Amit in MLO. So you see the variation. It's not exactly same. They are similar. And here you have Vinay K. Kumar and here you have Vinay Kumar. This is also the same customer. Okay. Then that's the source key. This is the source key for these two records. Organization name is blank because they are persons. Status active. Right. That's what is there in this landing table. Now let's check this address of these people. So Amit, this is the address of Amit, these two. So Madhapur, Hyderabad, India, Madhapur, Hyderabad, India. If you want, you can also have a variation here. So let me do a small variation. Madhapur, Hyderabad. And here also, let's say you. Okay, so there is a variation as well now. Madhapur, Hyderabad, Madhapur, Hyderabad. Slight variation. So they are not exactly same. They are identical. Alright, now commit it. And contacts, you can see the contacts. So first name, let me sort it. Amit Amit, Vinay Vinay. Then I have phone number. Phone number are same. Email ID is same. Then fax number is different. Date of birth is same. So some details are same, some details are different. That's the meaning. Okay. Now let's try to move. So data is there in my landing table. Now close it. Let's try to move this. So this is done. Let's try to do this. Landing to staging. To move data from the landing to staging, you go to the batch viewer. In batch viewer, go to the stage here and you need to run these jobs. mparty CKR. So I have 6 mappings, right? So these are the 6 mappings. I can run all the 6 mappings. Before executing this, how to execute? Right click, execute. Simple. Right click, execute. But before doing that, I would like to understand if there is any dependency. That is, can I run all of this in parallel, all 6 in parallel, or should I run in serial, or what is the logic? What is the dependency? To understand the dependency, we need to understand the target. The target is the staging table here. So the target is the staging table. Now question is, do we have relationship in staging table? Do we have relationships in staging table? No, as far as I remember, no relationship. So since there is no relationship in staging table, there is no dependency. So you can run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all 6 in parallel. Right? So you can start execute, 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 you can do that. Or you have a better method. You can group them, something similar to a workflow. You can do that. Go here, batch viewer, create a batch group. Let's say this is bg underscore stage job. Then you say add level below and you add all the jobs 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, save it. That's what is this batch group. It's nothing but it will group the jobs in the batch viewer, whatever jobs are there in the batch viewer, and you can run the groups. right? You can run the group which will kick off all this in parallel. So to run this, go here, click on execute, then it will start. Simple logic. Okay, but before doing that, first let's try to understand a particular job. Let's see the logs and see what happens. Let's try to understand a bit more. So M party secure. If I right click and say execute, so you can see this hand mark. It means it's running, and refresh tick mark means it's done. Total records 2, inserted 2. Why total records is 2? Because of the filter src is equal to secure. I have this 2 records only. Alright. Now it means that my staging table will contain how many records? My staging table will contain how many records? 2 records. So you can see 2 records are loaded into my staging table. Okay, so that is how you run a job. But now let's see the reject. Let's see the reject. To see the reject, what I will do is I'll go to this party table and let's say star. I'll change something here. I'll Mishra Amit is there, right? I'll make it null. Okay, Mishra Amit, I made it null. Sorry, this one is for MLO, right? Let it be. Let's say this Vinay guy, Control X, commit. So now my name is null. If I run the 1 minute again, we are concentrating on the CKR, right? So let's concentrate only on the CKR. Let's say I remove this. Okay, so from CKR, one is valid, one is invalid. So this record will be rejected. Should be rejected. That's the expectation. Let's run the job. So go here and run it. Refresh. Here I go. Triangle mark. Triangle mark means the job ran successfully, but one is inserted, another one is rejected. If you say view rejects, then it will tell you that input is null. See here, input is null. Based on whatever mapping logic you have created, it shows you that. It also shows you the data. You can see the name is null. And when you say view rejects, what is happening here? It is hitting which table? It is hitting REJ table. So if I go and check that, sorry, if I go and check this REJ table data, then here I go. So using this, you will understand that, okay, that's the reason why the record was rejected. Okay. Now and in the staging table, how many records can I expect? 1 record. Earlier it was 2. I reran the job, it's only 1 record. So this is a truncate load. That's clear. Right? And let's say that, so we have seen 3 marks: tick mark, hand mark, this mark. Now if let's say that you're not connecting an important column, then you will also see a cross mark. Now let me try to run it now. Last update it is not connected. See a cross mark here. This is the third type of symbol. Cross mark means something got failed, and it tells you clearly that this is not nullable. Go and correct that. Okay, so that's the concept of the, and if you want to clear history, clear the logs, clear history here. Right, now I can run all of this in parallel. I can go here and say execute, refresh. So Done. Check the logs. 2 2 2 2 2 2. So fine, 2 records each. Okay, so this is done. Landing to staging, very simple. Have any doubts? If you have any doubts, you can ask, because we'll move now to the this one, staging to the base object. So now my staging table contains 2 records each. Okay, all my staging table contains two records. So now my objective is to move data from staging to the base object. So I have 6 staging tables and I'll move that to 3 base objects. So expectation is I will load 4 records in each base object: party 4, address 4, contact 4. That's the objective, right? And let's do that. To do that, before doing that, you check the staging table also. You make sure that you have two records. As per the logs it is 2, but you check and see the tables. Okay, I've already seen one table, it's working fine, so I'm not checking, but normally you should check. Okay, and now go to the batch viewer. You have something called as the load job. Okay, so this is the job that we're going to run to move the data from the staging table to the base object. Okay, but before that, I have 6 jobs. Talking about dependency, do I have a dependency here? Are these dependent jobs? To understand that, the target is base object, and yes, base object, there is dependency in base object. So first you must run the parent, that's the party, then only you can run the child, that's the address and contact. If you directly start the child, if I go here and start the child, so you can see what is happening. Records are getting rejected. If you see the reason, for that, then see here. Clearly it's telling me that cannot find the lookup value. Why it cannot find? Because you have not loaded the parent. Okay, so that's the dependency. And now can I run party CKR, party MLO in parallel? That's the question. Can I run party CKR, party MLO? Because they are same table, right? So can I do that? No, you can't do that also. You must run this in serial, because if you try to run that in parallel, let's say create a batch group and let's say bg underscore load and say add level below, and let me try to run these two in parallel. Save it and load. Let me run these two in parallel. Let's see what happens. Here I go. So this is done. This got failed. And if you check that here, then clearly tells you that this is succeeded, this is failed. Why this is failed? The batch job did not start because a batch job is already running on a table. So you're not allowed to run parallel jobs on the same table, right? So the proper way is this. You must run it in a serial way. That is, remove this job. Sorry, remove the job. I remove the label. First run the CKR, then the MLO, then the CKR from contact, then CKR from MLO, then address, then MLO address. This is one way. The second alternate way of doing it is you can also have bg underscore load by SRC, by source system. So you can have something like secure, then you can have contact, then you can have address. Okay, and you can name it to like secure, and similarly you create it for MLO. So source wise also you can do that. Okay, and right, so now we can start this job. So you can start it here, execute. So running, done. And if you see the logs, then 22222 records got inserted. This one is 0 because this one already succeeded. Okay, so if you go and check it now, then if I check this, so if I check my party table, okay, earlier I created this record, so just neglect that, just concentrate on these 4 records and remove that also. Yeah, 1 minute. Okay, so you can see here 4 records and the consolidation indicator as expected it is 4. Okay, so don't get confused, this is a different record, otherwise what I'll do is let me truncate the table and then I will load it again so that there is no confusion. To truncate this you need to use the SIF feature, Services Integration Framework feature. So this you will learn later. New SOAP project, and there is a link, this link, CMS request wisdom. This link is a standard link, you can copy paste, give it here, then save HP, and you need to use something called as clean table. So clean table, what I'm doing here that you will learn later, but summarizing what I'm doing here, I'm just truncating the table. So first you need to truncate the child table. Truncate the child, then truncate the child, then truncate the party. So it's done. Now I can expect 0 records here, right? So now let me run the load job. So go and run this load job again. Right, so it will be done, I think. Processing. See, remember this truncate, why I am doing it from here instead of directly doing it in database. Why I am doing here, I'm doing it here because if you see here, if I do it here, then data is erased from here, cross-reference, VCT, VXR, from all the 11 tables, plus there are also some backend tables like C repos, user, merge, assignments, all those things. So here also it is getting replaced. So it is almost like it will try, Informatica will truncate data from 15 tables. So that's the reason why you must do it using this method only. Okay, now party, I have 4 records, and address I have 4 records, contact I have 4 records. 4 records. Then I have 4 records in contacts as well. Okay, in contacts also I have 4 records. That's the concept of the load job. You just see that the consolidation indicator is 4, and that will change once we do the match and merge. So once you do the match and merge, you will see that will change. Right, if you have any doubts you can ask, because I think yeah, with that I think I'll finish the session today. The load is done, so now you are also expected to complete that, because tomorrow we'll be starting the from the matching part. That's the tokenization, then the matching. So complete this backlog things, like all these things today itself. Right, if you have any doubts you can ask, otherwise I think we'll finish the session. Okay guys, then if there's no doubt, then I think we'll finish the session. Thanks. Thank you very much. I'll upload the video. Thanks.